Okay.
Pull it together over there.
Welcome back to Stablecoin House. This is the beginning of day 2. Our first fireside. I'm joined with Nick from Rain. We're going to dig into card issuance, making stablecoins useful, and all the good stuff that Rain has been cooking recently. Nick, thanks for joining.
A pleasure. Thanks for having me. Good
Definitely.
to see you as always.
I think one of the topics that's been really popular, at least yesterday and kind of into last night, was how do you make stablecoins actually usable in the real world, right? So there's a lot that's happening in terms of on and off-ramp providers, orchestrators, you have the bridges of the world, the BVNKs, et cetera. They're all creating kind of stablecoin liquidity to bank accounts and banking rails. But from a retail perspective, the most useful way to use a stablecoin is to just be able to spend it on a card, right? And now all of a sudden, stablecoins are interoperable with merchants all over the world. I'm curious to kind of understand, and maybe we can start with the history of Rain a little bit.
Yeah.
What was kind of that light bulb moment or that thesis where you guys said, you know what, we're going to build the stablecoin backed card infrastructure?
For sure. Yeah, so Rain started back in 2021. I was still at Circle, not a founder, sorry to say. But we started as a corporate...
Circle? I've never heard of that one.
Circle, it's a shape. No, yeah, it's been interesting times for Circle. We can get into that or not. But yeah, Rain started back as a corporate card. I think Farouk and Charles had this aha moment where there's all these companies in Web3 that had their corporate treasury locked up into tokens, but they couldn't spend those tokens to buy a flight to Cannes for a conference, right? So it became a very natural off-ramp initially, and that product is a little bit more of a legacy product for us now, but still very much alive and well. I think we have about 300 clients and counting, still using what we call Rain Spend. And the idea then was, okay, can we white label that product to allow our clients to actually issue cards to their customers? It's funny because I think the initial kind of strategy was, this is really going to be like a B2B2B offering, right? Kind of corporate cards as a service. And I think what's been surprising for us is that, we still have a fair amount of those use cases that we're supporting, but really what we've seen is the B2C use cases taking off. And as kind of like the proliferation of stablecoin adoption has happened, there's been a ton of really interesting applications that are being built. And a lot of those are B2C use cases. And so the majority of our clients are enabling their end customer to spend stablecoins pretty much directly from their wallet. We can do non-custodial or custodial spend. And it's kind of the same concept though as when we started, where it is kind of just the most natural off-ramp in the game.
It's the ultimate off-ramp, right? It's the only global off-ramp as a card.
I mean, we have a client whose business is literally called off-ramp, and they use us for card issuance. So yeah, obviously now we're seeing more and more use cases being built on top of the solution. But I think like as an impetus and initially, that was definitely the concept.
You guys have gone from being a very interesting startup to now powering some of the biggest cards out there, like the Avalanche card that was announced and all these other like massive card programs. What was that journey like, getting Rain from, baby tech and baby usage and things like that into now one of the most used card infrastructure companies in the world?
Yeah, it happened quickly. So it's been an efficient journey, and I think what's been cool for us is we're powering dozens of programs live. As you mentioned, we have some like large enterprise clients that are using our service: Avalanche, Nuvei, Carta, Avon, Takenos, Meru, etc. But I think what's been interesting now is, as we've seen stablecoins go more mainstream, obviously being more legitimized via current and upcoming legislation, as well as I think the Circle IPO didn't hurt. Now we're seeing fintechs, like massive global fintechs, wanting to get into the stablecoin game, right? Wanting to kind of control more of the money supply, wanting to generate more economics for themselves. And so I still think like the network effects of USDC and USDT can't be understated. Like those are going to have a place, but as stablecoin issuance happens, they're also going to need a way to make those more useful and make those spendable. And so I think even though we're growing very rapidly, we're really just getting started, which is exciting.
Very nice.
Yeah.
I mean, stable coins without utility are fairly meaningless, right? I'm curious to see kind of how you think the stablecoin wars evolve. You were at Circle. They've done some interesting things. They seem to be verticalizing a lot, filing for the trust bank charter now, launching a lot of like chain abstraction products, things like that. Tether just launched their payments focused L1. I think it's called, what is it called? I don't remember off the top of my head. Whatever it is that was just launched like yesterday or 2 days ago, like stable or something like that. And now we have, USDG announced the MasterCard partnership, like that's heating up a little bit. We have the banks that are thinking about issuing stables. We have the large corporates that are talking about issuing stables, like I think it was Samsung that put out something recently.
Yeah, Anchor has just announced their stablecoin matrix.
Delisting USDC.
USDC,
Very unsafe. Where do you think this goes? Do we get to 500 different stablecoins, one for every ecosystem, or does it consolidate to a few winners?
I think neither.
Okay.
I think it's interesting. It's an interesting time. As I mentioned, I just think with the Circle IPO and with Tether's sort of market dominance among peer-to-peer payments, especially in emerging markets, it's been interesting in Latin America, as we've seen, that's a huge market for us, right? Where people in Latin America have actually, because of a lack of legacy banking infrastructure and the kind of the hyperinflation in environments, have been forced to become very savvy with how they think about money, and stablecoins has kind of become that refuge for them. And it's interesting that all the stablecoins we talk about that are prominent are all dollar backed. Right, there's some that are doing more interesting things. Obviously, some of the past that are maybe not as dollar backed. The algorithmic stables, I don't think are coming back for a while.
Can we stop calling algorithmic stablecoins?
Yeah.
Can we just call them tokenized financial products or something like that? Because that's what they are. Right? They wouldn't be a currency. If you didn't tokenize them, they would be some sort of a structured product or something. Right. So let's just call them tokenized structured products.
Yeah, I'm down with that. Okay. But still, it's all dollar backed, right? And over 60% of US dollars are outside the US. So we think about stablecoins, I think it becomes a US conversation often, but really it's not. It's a global conversation. And so the demand for dollars globally is very obvious. And how people are accessing that is just through a tokenized dollar in the form of a stablecoin. I do think though that USDC and USDT are just not going away. And a lot of our clients, they don't really care, right? Nor do their customers. It's just a dollar balance. Whatever it is great for them. So I think these kind of stablecoin issuance providers, there's a huge market there still, right? A lot of these huge companies who are controlling a lot of money movement, and they want to control that end to end, and they want to generate economics. There's going to be a market there, but that's why I said no, because I think it's going to be a combination of for example, we have a stablecoin. Rain does. Called RUSD.
Okay.
Where we can kind of convert fiat or other stable balances that are being held into RUSD and generate some revenue off that. Okay. It's issued by our boys over at Braille.
Is it kind of purely used on the back end of things, or is it available to be taken out of the ecosystem?
It could be available, but we don't really make it available. It's more just back end. So I think that's going to happen more as a way to generate kind of interest on that. But in terms of broad, peer-to-peer or network effect stables, I still think that's going to be that's going to be a smaller pool. And I could see a lot of our stablecoins called RUSD. I could see a lot of those sorts of use cases happening, where it's kind of just
the internal stablecoins make sense to me, or the closed loop stablecoins.
Exactly.
Right? So if you're someone like a PayPal and you own a tremendous amount of distribution, PYUSD makes sense. If you're a bank and you have a ton of account holders, doing something makes sense. If you're a large Fortune 500, like a Samsung or someone like that who was talking about some stables, probably makes sense. But if you're just a random single issuer who's now raising a bunch of VC capital saying, I'm going to build a token, I'm sorry, but I don't get it.
I don't get it. And I mean, even PYUSD, right? I was at Circle when that was announced, and there was a little bit of
What's going on?
Yeah, this could be scary. Like PayPal's pretty big.
Yep.
Like, does anyone use PYUSD? Like, have you heard anyone use it? I don't.
No comment.
So
why do you think that is, though? Actually, right? So PayPal does own a tremendous amount of distribution. Yeah. They are a giant in the fintech space. They could be pushing this to not just retail users, but also merchants, cross-border payments, infra. Like, they do a ton of these financial services.
Yeah.
Is it that they've been shy to pull the trigger on actually pushing it through the ecosystem? Is it actually large fintechs aren't good issuers for other reasons? Like, what do you see?
I think it's a combination of that. And again, I think like USDC's foothold in the market, given it started in 2018, is like basically a trading pair.
Yep.
And then USDT's foothold in the market as a peer-to-peer, exchange of value. I just don't think those can be, like, that can't be stated strongly enough that it's hard to like be a new entrant in this market. And so I think the closed loop stuff will make sense. And USDG, I respect what they're doing from kind of like the consortium model with like better economics, but I don't think there's going to be 100 stables in 4 years that everyone knows and uses. There's also an interoperability issue there.
Exactly. Yeah. Maybe diving back into Rain, I think there's definitely a few folks that are issuing stable-backed cards, right? Bridge has a card issuance product. You guys have a card issuance product. A few others do as well.
It's Bridge.
You heard of that one? It's owned by this company now. I think it's called like Dots or Stripes or something. I can't keep it straight.
Yeah, it makes sense.
You guys have been growing like wildfire. Kind of what sets Rain's products apart from other providers?
First of all, we've been doing this for a while. We've built proprietary authorization and settlement infrastructure across 10 blockchains and counting, where we allow native spend from non-custodial balances or custodial balances. What's cool, which was just announced a few weeks ago, is that we're the only issuer to be settling with the network in USDC.
Interesting.
7 days a week.
Very
So
cool.
if you think about like a traditional like issuer, because they can only settle with the network 5 days a week, they typically require their customers to put up a reserve balance of like 4x the daily spend volume.
Yep.
For us, I was just talking to one of our clients, EtherFi, last night. He was like, it's amazing because we can top up a reserve balance with you in USDC, and because you settle with Visa every day in USDC, they basically, they have a small buffer, right, of like 10% more of whatever their kind of spend is happening. If they see it kind of getting close, they can just top it up. I think the biggest thing though for us is that we are one of the only non-banks that holds a card issuing license and is a Visa principal member. So every other issuer pretty much is reselling a bank sponsorship. I think we've seen enough in the last few years in crypto to know that banks
I know where you're going.
are not always reliable. And so for us, I think it's a very competitive advantage, mostly because A, our regulation is a lot more clear, but B, most banks would take a client live in 6 months. We just took an enterprise client live in 24 days. So
that's incredible for card programs. I've built on top of a few card programs in previous lives. And it was always 6 to 9 month implementations. That's incredible.
So I think speed to market is probably speed to market, economics, the variety of kind of use cases and flows we can support. And then also, like a bank in New Jersey, it's not really their mandate to be issuing cards to people in Nigeria.
Do you have a particular bank in New Jersey in mind? I won't make you say the name.
Name any bank or any state. But for us, like we're really designed to be a global issuer. We just poached someone from Visa who's helping us with that. So yeah, it's I think if you put all those things together, it's not really a contest, but I'm biased.
If you're thinking about this, you made the global issuer point, and I want to double click on that. If you're building some sort of a non-custodial wallet or some sort of a DeFi dApp or something like that has a fairly global user base, and you want to start to issue cards to those users to be able to spend their balances out of your wallet or out of your DeFi infrastructure, how do you look at that, given the global audience and given kind of the local nature of card issuance?
Yeah, I think that's why a lot of clients come to us, because you can go live with us in the US, you can go live with us in Latin America. We are actively working on licensing. Just got good news recently about our license in both the APAC region as well as Africa.
Very nice.
EU on the roadmap. Not as much interchange in the EU, but
Yep.
obviously something we're working on. I mean, yeah, so I think if you're a non-custodial platform, you're basically leveraging our licensing.
Yep.
And so you don't need that licensing to go global. We can't take you to 7 billion plus people on day one, but I think by early next year, that should be closer to 5.5 to 6 billion people that we can take you to with a single integration. A lot of these issuers too, it's like, okay, you can go live in Argentina, but if you want to go live in Colombia, then that's an extra fee, that's an extra setup. It's actually interesting. We had a client recently who was like super focused in the Colombian market. They're like, we're doing Colombia, this is our market, we know it very well. I'm like, look, that's great, but we can also basically allow you to go live in every other market in Latin America as well. And for the most part, not all of them, but almost all of them. And their biggest market by far is Bolivia. Like Bolivia is absolutely ripping for them. And they didn't really foresee that. So I think that also provides a lot of benefits.
Creating optionality and choice. Like maybe one last thing, and then we can go to questions from other folks and things like that. But if you're talking to someone who's thinking about a stablecoin-based card issuance program, what are a couple very non-obvious things that most people don't think about that people should take as lessons, kind of that they hopefully don't have to learn the hard way and to keep top of mind?
Yeah, I think one, it's very hard if you're hoping that card issuance will save you.
Okay.
I think our most successful clients have built a product that has product market fit.
Yep.
And that has active clients today. And the card product is a natural extension of their offering.
Okay.
Right? And also becomes, I think what's also interesting is like, a lot of our clients, they'll put different pieces of the stack together. But what's cool about what we do is, because we're a Visa Principal member, we make, the heavy majority of the interchange on every transaction. Yep. And we give that interchange back to most of our clients based on the commercial. So it actually can become a really meaningful profit center as well for clients. And I think also though, it's kind of both sides of the coin. It's either, like we also have clients like Cast, right? And their whole product has been built around this notion of cards. And so I think it has to be one or the other. Either going all in on this is what we're building. It's kind of like what we're doing for Avalanche, right? We're doing the card program for Avalanche. Or it's a client that has traction, has product market fit, and is allowing this as an extension. I think when you're in that middle ground of like, hey, we're kind of trying to feel out where we belong in this market, and we're hoping that cards all of a sudden is going to generate, customers for us.
Yep.
Those are the clients that I think have issues.
Makes sense. Any questions from anybody listening in?
What you got, Javi? I can tell your mind is racing.
You want me to ask a question?
I mean, if you want, I mean, it's pretty obvious that.
So again, I guess as rank continues to grow, she continues to take on this like massive expansion of new use cases, etc. Is rank actually focused on one specific product, or do you like kind of take it on an opportunity basis? Like, what's the thought process behind it? Or do you see rank kind of becoming a nice niche SME?
Yeah, I think we're not focused on a product. I think we're focused on making the dollar useful globally. I think we believe in the dollar as an asset. And so that happens to come in the form of a stablecoin. How do you make that stablecoin useful? To quote, I think, the name of this talk.
Yeah. Yep.
Everyone in the world, I think, not every, maybe 90+% of the people in the world know how to tap their phone at Starbucks or wherever else, right? And so it's actually, I think what we're doing really well is connecting kind of this interesting, new, exciting infrastructure and technology with a lot of the traditional rails, right? That work well today. And so that combination, I think, is what we're focused on. Obviously, as you know, being a global issuer over the next 6 months to 12 months is kind of our biggest focus. So enabling dollar utility globally, I think we just happen to do that in the form of card issuance, but I think there's other stuff that will be coming out in the future as well.
Cool.
Awesome.
Nick, thanks for the time.
Pleasure, my friend. Thank you. Oh, please. Thank you. What do you think, Charlie?
Stuff.
Oh, sorry. I can grab the. Help me put my bag down.
I got this time off, so. Cheers, mate. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Excuse me.
We're not doing that one.